The United Galactic Alliance survey vessel Eternal Light floated silently at the edge of humanity's home system. Its sleek hull gleamed under the distant sunlight as crew members crowded the observation deck. They had come to witness the approaching human vessel, the first official contact between their civilizations. Captain Kim stood with his arms crossed, watching the massive human ship inch closer on the view screen. The vessel moved with painful slowness against the starfield. "They call it the Thunderchild *," he said, lips curving into a slight smile. "Can you believe it? Their propulsion system is outdated fission-fusion technology. It will take them nearly a full standard cycle to travel the distance our ships cover in just days." Admiral Park said nothing at first. The silver-haired commander studied the approaching ship with narrowed eyes. Something about the human vessel made him uneasy despite its apparent technological inferiority. The Thunderchild *, was enormous, at least 3 times larger than their most impressive battlecruiser. "Their weapons systems?" Park finally asked, voice carefully neutral. Captain Kim brought up a detailed scan on the screen. "Nothing special. Mostly physical projectiles with basic laser defenses. By our standards, completely rudimentary." He gestured dismissively. "Nothing that could even scratch our shield technology." The bridge crew nodded in agreement. Humans were newcomers to space travel, barely 2 centuries into serious interstellar exploration. The Alliance had been crossing the stars for millennia. Park frowned. "Size like that requires significant resources. Why build so large if their technology is so limited?" "Perhaps they simply don't know better," offered Navigation Officer Yoon. "Their engineering principles might still be based on brute force rather than efficiency." Hours later, the diplomatic shuttle from the Thunderchild * docked with the Alliance vessel. The human delegation wore crisp blue uniforms with gold trim. Their leader, Admiral Choi, stood tall and expressionless as Alliance diplomats greeted them with carefully rehearsed welcomes. The meeting took place in the Grand Conference Room. Alliance Representative Lee sat across from the humans, his posture relaxed and confident. Admiral Choi remained still, hands folded neatly on the table. "We welcome humanity to the galactic community," Lee began, his tone warm but carrying a distinct note of condescension. "Your species has achieved remarkable progress in such a short developmental window. The Alliance would be pleased to offer protection and guidance as you catch up to current standards." Several Alliance officers poorly concealed their smirks. The humans' expressions remained unchanged. Admiral Choi responded with perfect composure. "The United Earth Federation appreciates your consideration," he said evenly. "However, we have managed our security requirements quite effectively for centuries. We look forward to peaceful relations based on mutual respect." The slight emphasis on respect was not lost on Admiral Park, who observed from the side of the room. The human admiral showed no anger at the thinly veiled insult, but his eyes carried an intensity that Park found unsettling. As the meeting progressed, Park noticed something else. The humans shared information freely about their culture and some technology, but carefully avoided details about military capabilities or the exact specifications of the Thunderchild *. After 3 hours of discussions, the human delegation prepared to return to their vessel. As they gathered their materials, Park caught Admiral Choi studying the Alliance room with careful attention. Their eyes met briefly. Choi nodded politely, but Park detected something in the human's gaze. Not hostility, but calculation. Once the humans had departed, the Alliance officers gathered to discuss the meeting. "Primitive, but not unfriendly," Captain Kim concluded. "They seemed to understand their place." Only Lieutenant Ba remained silent, focused on her data terminal. Park noticed her concerned expression. "Lieutenant, do you have something to add?" he asked. Ba looked up, surprised to be addressed directly by the Admiral. "Sir, I've been analyzing the power signature of the human vessel since it entered our sensor range. The readings are puzzling." Park moved to her station. "Explain." "Their ship generates significantly more power than their propulsion system requires," she said, pointing to the energy graphs. Even accounting for life support and other systems, there's a substantial energy surplus unaccounted for. Inefficient design, suggested Captain Kim. Ba shook her head. No. The power is being utilized somewhere, but our sensors can't determine where or how. The room fell silent. Admiral Park studied the readings carefully. Meaning? He finally asked. Lieutenant Ba met his eyes directly. They're hiding something, sir. The Thunderchild is not what it appears to be. Park turned to gaze out the viewport where the massive human ship hung against the stars, seemingly slow and vulnerable. Yet something about its presence now seemed less pathetic and more patient. Keep monitoring that vessel, he ordered. All frequencies, all spectrums. I want to know what they're concealing. As the Alliance crew returned to their duties, the human ship continued its unhurried movement. Its apparent slowness no longer seemed like weakness to Park, but rather the deliberate pace of a predator that didn't need to rush. The Admiral couldn't shake the feeling that they had all missed something important. The humans had shown no reaction to the Alliance's thinly veiled contempt. It was almost as if they were accustomed to being underestimated, perhaps even counted on it. 3 months after first contact, tensions between the United Galactic Alliance and the humans had grown worse with each passing day. The dispute centered on the Proxima system, a cluster of planets rich with rare minerals vital for advanced technology. The Alliance claimed ownership based on ancient star charts, showing they had cataloged the system millennia ago. The humans argued their colony ships had already established mining operations there before formal contact. The grand war room aboard the Alliance command station hummed with activity. Officers moved between stations while holographic displays showed ship movements across a 3-dimensional map of the contested region. Admiral Park stood at the center, his face illuminated by the blue glow of tactical projections. Commander Han approached, pointing to a slow-moving red dot on the display. The human warship Thunderchild continues its approach to the disputed zone, Admiral. Their speed remains unchanged, barely 1/10 of our standard cruising velocity. Several junior officers exchanged smiles. The human vessel had been crawling through space for weeks now, making no attempt to conceal its position or increase its speed. How long until they reach the mineral belt? Admiral Park asked. At current velocity, approximately 12 days, Han replied. We could deploy 3 battle groups and secure the entire system before they arrive. Admiral Park studied the projection. His initial unease about the humans had faded over the weeks of monitoring their predictable plotting vessel. The Thunderchild followed the same course day after day, making minor adjustments that their sensors detected easily. Whatever power anomalies Lieutenant Ba had detected seemed less concerning now. The diplomatic channels have failed, Park said finally. The humans refuse to acknowledge Alliance priority claims despite clear historical evidence. It's time to demonstrate our resolve. He gestured to the tactical display. Position our fastest attack vessels at these coordinates. We'll establish a blockade and turn them back. Officers moved quickly to implement the orders. The room buzzed with confident energy. No one doubted the outcome of a confrontation. Alliance military technology was centuries beyond human capabilities. Only Senior Analyst Song appeared troubled. The older woman approached Admiral Park's station with a data tablet. Admiral, if I may, she said quietly, I've been studying human historical archives. Their species has extensive experience with what they call asymmetric warfare. Their military history suggests they rarely engage in direct confrontation when facing technologically superior opponents. Commander Han overheard and joined the conversation. Their experience is entirely planetary, not cosmic, he said dismissively. Space combat follows different principles. Besides, their vessel moves like a wounded animal. Our sensors can track its every movement. That's precisely my concern, Song persisted. Why would they send their flagship into contested space with no escort and at such reduced speed? It contradicts basic tactical logic unless what? Park asked, giving her his full attention. Unless they want us to focus on it, she finished. Admiral Park considered her words. The analyst had an excellent reputation, and her concerns echoed his own initial misgivings. Increase sensor sweeps across all bands, he ordered. I want comprehensive scans of the entire approach vector, not just the vessel itself. For 3 hours, the Alliance Command Center monitored the Thunderchild's steady approach. Technical officers reported nothing unusual beyond the same power anomalies they had noted since first contact. The massive ship continued its slow, predictable course. 12 hours until our attack groups reach position, Commander Han reported. The human vessel shows no sign of altering course or speed. Admiral Park nodded, growing more confident. Perhaps the humans simply didn't understand the futility of their position. Their inexperience in interstellar diplomacy likely led them to overestimate their claims. Then, without warning, alarms blared across the command center. What's happening? Park demanded. The tracking officer stared at his console in confusion. The Thunderchild it's no longer on sensors. Commander Han rushed to the main display. That's impossible. Recalibrate the system. Already done, sir, the officer replied, fingers flying across the controls. Multiple band confirmation. The target has completely vanished. Sensor malfunction, Han demanded, his voice rising. The technical supervisor ran diagnostic programs, her face pale. No, sir. All systems functioning normally. We're simply not detecting the vessel anymore. Silence fell across the command center as the implications sank in. A ship 3 times larger than their biggest battlecruiser had somehow disappeared completely from their most advanced tracking systems. Launch scout vessels immediately, Admiral Park ordered. I want visual confirmation of that ship's position. Within minutes, reports from the scout ships confirmed the impossible. The massive Thunderchild was truly gone from its last known coordinates. No debris field, no radiation signature, nothing to indicate what had happened. Could they have some form of cloaking technology? Han asked, his earlier confidence evaporating. Senior Analyst Song shook her head. Not possible with their technological level. The energy requirements alone would explain the power anomalies we detected, Admiral Park finished, a cold feeling settling in his stomach. They'd been concealing their true capabilities from the start. The command center erupted into frantic activity as officers attempted to locate the missing vessel. Additional scout ships launched while long-range sensors scanned for any trace of the human warship. 6 hours later, they still had found nothing. The Thunderchild had vanished completely. Admiral Park stared at the display showing the Alliance attack groups moving into position to secure a system that suddenly felt far less secure. Sir, a communications officer called out, we're detecting unusual energy fluctuations near our Outpost 7 in the Proxima Belt. Before Park could respond, the officer's eyes widened. Outpost 7 has gone silent. No response to communications. The cold feeling in Park's stomach turned to ice. Whatever the humans had planned, it had already begun. The true nature of the Thunderchild remained hidden from Alliance intelligence for a simple reason. They were looking for the wrong things. Deep within the massive human vessel, Admiral Choi stood in the central command hub, surrounded by screens showing the position of Alliance ships across the Proxima system. Status report, he requested, his voice calm and measured. Commander Jo looked up from her station. Her eyes reflected the blue glow of tactical displays. All stealth platforms deployed and in position, Admiral. The last drone squadron launched 6 hours ago. We're maintaining complete emission silence as ordered. The command hub bore little resemblance to the ornate bridge of Alliance vessels. It sat buried deep within the Thunderchild's hull, protected by layers of armor and decoy systems. No windows, no unnecessary decoration. Only functional workstations arranged in concentric circles around the central tactical display. And the Alliance response? Choi asked. Exactly as predicted. Joe replied. "They've dispatched attack groups to secure the mineral belt. Their sensors are still searching for us near our last known position." Admiral Choi nodded. The plan was unfolding perfectly. What the Alliance commanders failed to understand was that the Thunderchild had never been designed as a direct combat vessel. Its enormous size served a different purpose entirely. "The Alliance believes speed equals tactical advantage," he said to the assembled officers. "They mock our slow ships because they don't understand our strategy." On the main screen, a diagram showed the Thunderchild's true nature. Within its massive hull lay hundreds of specialized compartments, launch bays for stealth drones, storage for kinetic projectiles, and advanced manufacturing facilities to produce more as needed. For 3 months, while appearing to move ponderously toward the Proxima system, the Thunderchild had been quietly seeding the region with its hidden weapons. Each time it adjusted course, movements easily detected by Alliance sensors, it had launched another wave of stealth platforms, invisible to standard detection methods. Commander Joe approached the tactical display. She had spent months studying Alliance defensive technology, finding their critical weakness. Their entire military doctrine is built around energy-based weapons and defenses, she explained, bringing up schematics of Alliance shield systems. Their shields are designed to disperse directed energy, lasers, plasma, particle beams. They rely on detecting incoming energy signatures to activate countermeasures. She touched the display, switching to images of the human weapon systems. "But we're not using energy weapons. Our kinetic strike platforms carry simple tungsten rods. No energy signature, minimal heat profile, nearly invisible to their sensor systems. They have no defense against basic physics." The tungsten rods were nothing more complex than solid metal cylinders. Once accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, they carried devastating kinetic energy, enough to punch through any known shielding system. The Alliance, with all their advanced technology, had overlooked this elementary threat. "Begin final countdown," Admiral Choi ordered. "Coordinate strike packages as planned." While the human command hub prepared for attack, a different scene unfolded aboard the Alliance flagship. Junior analyst Min sat alone in the archives section, troubled by the disappearance of the human vessel. Something about the situation bothered her deeply. She had accessed historical records, searching for any similar incidents. Most of the documents proved unhelpful. Technological analyses of known species, standard tactical guides, weapon specifications. Then she found something unusual. An ancient academic paper written thousands of years earlier, during the Alliance's early expansion period. "Theoretical Warfare Strategies of Pre-FTL Species," the title read. The document had been accessed only 3 times in the past century. Min began reading, her concern growing with each paragraph. Primitive species often develop combat strategies based on deception rather than technological superiority, the ancient text warned. Having evolved on contested planetary surfaces, such species typically possess extensive experience with asymmetric warfare techniques. Min scrolled further, her heart racing. Of particular concern are kinetic energy weapons. While energy-based weapons represent the standard evolution of military technology, physical projectiles accelerated to relativistic speeds remain the most efficient weapon in vacuum environments. Shield systems designed for energy dispersion offer minimal protection against such attacks. She immediately sent an urgent message to Admiral Park, attaching the document with key sections highlighted. She waited for a response, but none came. Communications had been prioritized for tactical coordination of the attack fleet. Min gathered her courage and left her station, heading directly for the command center. She had to make someone understand the danger. But the junior analyst's security clearance delayed her at multiple checkpoints. By the time she reached the command deck, alarms were already blaring. Back aboard the Thunderchild Admiral Choi gave the final order. "Execute." Across the Proxima system, hundreds of previously invisible platforms activated simultaneously. Each platform contained a simple payload. tungsten rods measuring 3 meters in length and half a meter in diameter. Nothing technologically advanced, just solid metal cylinders positioned with perfect precision. With minimal energy signatures that barely registered on Alliance sensors, the platforms released their projectiles, accelerating them to near relativistic speeds using brief magnetic pulses. Once launched, the rods required no further guidance or propulsion, just the unstoppable momentum of mass in motion. The first impact occurred at Alliance Outpost 7. The facility's shields detected nothing until the moment of impact. By then, far too late. The tungsten rod struck with the force of a small nuclear detonation, but without radiation or heat plume. The outpost simply ceased to exist. Similar strikes began across the system, each perfectly timed and positioned. Alliance vessels detected the attacks only after they occurred, unable to track the incoming projectiles or predict the next target. Aboard the Alliance flagship, Admiral Park watched in horror as contact was lost with vessel after vessel. Their supposedly invincible fleet was being systematically destroyed by weapons they couldn't even detect. "What is happening?" Commander Han demanded, his earlier confidence replaced by panic. Junior Analyst Min finally reached the command deck, out of breath and clutching her data tablet. "Sir," she gasped, "they're using kinetic weapons, physical projectiles. Our shields aren't designed to stop them." Park turned to her, understanding dawning too late. The human vessel was a carrier, Min finished, deploying weapon platforms while we watched it crawl through space. The Admiral stared at the tactical display as more Alliance ships vanished from the screen. The warning had come too late. The Thunderchild's true purpose was finally revealed, not as a warship, but as the delivery system for a completely different kind of warfare. The first sign of trouble came as a small flash of light on the port side of the Alliance flagship Supreme Victory *. It appeared no more threatening than a distant star briefly flaring in the void. Several bridge officers noticed it, but none recognized the significance until it was too late. By the time the automated alarm systems activated, 3 more impacts had occurred across different sections of the massive vessel. The command center plunged into darkness for 3 seconds before emergency systems engaged, bathing everything in a harsh red glow. "Report," Admiral Park demanded, gripping the arms of his command chair as the deck trembled beneath him. His earlier confidence had vanished completely, replaced by growing dread. Officer Kang frantically worked her damage control station, her fingers flying across the interface. "Multiple impacts across the fleet, sir," she replied, her voice shaking. "Direct hits on our port shield generators, primary communications array, and engine control systems." "How did they penetrate our shields?" Commander Han demanded, rushing to her station. "Kinetic penetrators," Kang explained, pointing to the damage pattern analysis. "Solid metal rods moving at extreme velocity. Our shields, they didn't register them until impact. The defense systems are designed to detect energy weapons, not physical objects." Park accessed the fleet communication network and witnessed the unfolding disaster. Across the battlefield, Alliance vessels were being systematically disabled. The pattern was unmistakable. Each strike targeted critical systems with surgical precision. Shield generators, propulsion, weapons arrays, communication hubs, all falling to invisible attackers. "Where are they coming from?" Park demanded. Senior Analyst Song studied the sensor readings with growing horror. "Multiple launch points, Admiral. The human vessel must have seeded the entire system with weapon platforms while we tracked its movements. Evasive maneuvers. All vessels scatter and implement random course changes," Park ordered. The surviving ships attempted to comply, but the invisible rain of tungsten rods continued to find their targets. The rods traveled at a significant fraction of light speed, carrying kinetic energy that no shield could dissipate. Upon impact, they didn't explode. They simply transferred their enormous momentum into the target, creating catastrophic damage through sheer physical force. The Thunderchild *, Park suddenly remembered. "Find it now." Across the system, aboard the human warship, Admiral Choi sat calmly in his command chair. The tactical display showed the systematic dismantling of the Alliance fleet. Green indicators represented functional kinetic strike platforms, while blue markers showed the positions of stealth drones, gathering real-time intelligence on the impacts. All primary targets neutralized, reported Commander Joe, her expression revealing neither joy nor regret. Only professional satisfaction in a well-executed operation. Shield generators and weapon systems disabled on 87% of enemy vessels. Minimal casualties as targeted. Choi nodded. The human attack had been designed to disable rather than destroy. The tungsten rods had been precisely calculated to penetrate specific sections of the Alliance ships, while avoiding crew quarters and life support systems when possible. Signal the fleet, Choi ordered. Begin Phase 2. Throughout the system, previously hidden human vessels emerged from stealth positions. Unlike the massive Thunderchild *. These were small, agile ships, fast attack craft designed for boarding operations. They had been concealed near the system's asteroid belt, their energy signatures masked by specialized equipment. Meanwhile, the supposedly primitive Thunderchild * itself suddenly surged forward, its engines flaring with unexpected power. The vessel accelerated rapidly, reaching speeds matching the Alliance's fastest warships within minutes. The fusion drive that Alliance intelligence had dismissed as outdated had been operating at less than 15% capacity during the previous months. The sudden acceleration shocked Alliance sensors officers. The vessel they had mocked for its ponderous movement was now bearing down on their position with frightening speed. Impossible, breathed Commander Han, watching the sensor readings. Their engine output has increased by a factor of 12. They've been running at minimal power this entire time. Admiral Park realized the full extent of the deception. They wanted us to underestimate them. They showed us exactly what they wanted us to see. The Thunderchild * approached the crippled Alliance flagship, now flanked by 6 smaller human vessels. Their coordinated movements suggested a practiced formation, not the actions of a species new to space combat. On the Alliance flagship's bridge, systems continued to fail as damage spread through critical sections. Emergency bulkheads sealed automatically, but the vessel was effectively paralyzed. Admiral, Communications Officer Nam called out, "We're receiving a transmission from the human vessel." "Put it through," Park ordered, straightening in his chair despite the chaos around him. Admiral Choi's face appeared on the main screen. Unlike previous encounters, he no longer maintained the polite, passive expression that the Alliance had interpreted as weakness. His eyes were sharp, his bearing commanding. "Admiral Park," Choi said calmly, "your vessels have been disabled but not destroyed. We have intentionally avoided targeting life support systems and crew quarters." Park stared at the human commander, finally understanding. This was never about the mineral rights. "No," Choi agreed. It was about respect. The Alliance dismissed humanity as primitive, assumed our technology reflected our capabilities. That was a mistake. Throughout the system, small human boarding craft approached the disabled Alliance vessels. They carried not soldiers, but engineering teams and medical personnel. Commander Han watched the sensor display in disbelief as his proud fleet hung powerless in space. "We never stood a chance," he whispered. "They let us build our strategy on false assumptions." On the tactical display, the massive Thunderchild * now moved with surprising grace for a vessel of its size, positioning itself alongside the Alliance flagship. Its true purpose was finally clear, not just a carrier for kinetic weapons, but a visible decoy that had kept Alliance attention fixed in exactly the wrong direction. "Your wounded will receive medical attention," Admiral Choi informed them. "Your ships will be repaired sufficiently to return to Alliance space, and you will carry a message." "What message?" Park asked quietly. "That humanity is not interested in conquest or destruction," Choi replied. "But neither will we be patronized or underestimated again." The peace negotiations began 6 days after the battle. Alliance officials entered the Thunderchild with wary expressions and rigid postures. The massive human vessel, once mocked for its supposed technological inferiority, now loomed in their minds as something far more dangerous, a symbol of how thoroughly they had been deceived. The conference room aboard the human ship surprised the Alliance delegation. They had expected a display of military might or intimidating technology. Instead, they found a simple, practical space with a large round table symbolizing equality. Fresh plants from Earth decorated the corners, their green leaves bringing life to the metal surroundings. Admiral Park led the Alliance representatives. His uniform still bore the crisp perfection expected of Alliance command, but the confident smile that had once accompanied his diplomatic missions was gone. In its place was a thoughtful, measured expression. Admiral Choi greeted them personally at the entrance. The human commander's manner remained calm and polite, showing neither triumph nor hostility. "Welcome aboard the Thunderchild, he said simply. "Please join us." As the delegations took their seats, Park studied the human vessel with new eyes. The corridors they had walked through revealed engineering that was different from Alliance designs, but clearly not primitive. The ship hummed with efficient power. Crew members moved with practiced precision. Nothing about it suggested technological inferiority. "You never needed to cross the system slowly," Park said, meeting Admiral Choi's eyes directly for the first time since the conflict began. "It was all misdirection." Choi nodded. "Humans have a saying," he replied. "The greatest trick isn't appearing stronger than you are, but appearing weaker." The negotiations lasted 3 days. The humans made surprisingly reasonable demands. They requested recognition of their mining rights in the Proxima system, but offered to share 30% of all resources extracted with the Alliance. They asked for technological exchange programs, but offered their own advances in return. Most significantly, they requested a formal acknowledgement of human space as sovereign territory and recognition of Earth as an equal partner in galactic affairs. "Your weapons could have destroyed our entire fleet," Commander Han noted during a break in the discussions. "Why show restraint?" "Because destruction wasn't our goal," explained Commander Joe. "We don't want enemies. We want respect." The treaty signed on the 4th day established new protocols between the species. The document recognized human independence and established shared development zones in disputed regions. Most importantly, it created a joint military council where both species would exchange tactical knowledge and coordinate defense efforts. "This marks a new beginning," Admiral Choi said as the signing concluded, "one based on mutual understanding rather than assumption." Admiral Park nodded. "We misjudged humanity based on incomplete information. It will not happen again." 3 years passed. The lessons of the brief conflict spread throughout the Alliance. Military academies added human battle tactics and history to their core curriculum. Senior officers studied Earth's long history of warfare, with growing respect and occasional alarm. "Their entire evolutionary path has been shaped by conflict," reported Senior Instructor Kang to a class of Alliance officer candidates. "Where our society developed through technological harmony, humans advanced through constant competition and adaptation." The holographic display showed historical images from Earth's many wars. They fought over resources, ideology, territory, sometimes simply for dominance. This created a species that instinctively understands deception, misdirection, and asymmetric advantage. At the newly constructed joint station orbiting Proxima Centauri's second planet, Alliance and human crews worked side by side. The massive facility served as both a mining coordination center and a symbol of cooperation between the species. The observation deck offered spectacular views of the planet below. Its blue-green surface showed signs of the joint terraforming project already underway. Ships from both civilizations moved in coordinated patterns around the orbital facilities. Admiral Park, now serving as Alliance ambassador to Earth, stood watching the activity. The years had added gray to his hair, but his posture remained straight, his mind still sharp. He heard footsteps approaching and turned to see Admiral Choi, joining him at the viewport. The extraction yields have exceeded projections by 17%, Choi noted. The new processing technology your engineers developed has improved efficiency significantly. Park nodded, but his thoughts were elsewhere. Do you ever wonder what might have happened if we had approached first contact differently? Choi considered the question. History follows the path it must. But yes, sometimes I think about alternatives. We could have shared so much knowledge from the beginning, Park admitted. Instead, we nearly started a war. Below them, a human mining vessel and an Alliance science ship worked in perfect coordination, their crews communicating seamlessly after years of cooperation. Sometimes, Choi replied, respect must be earned before friendship can begin. The two leaders stood silently, watching their people work together. The Thunderchild had become a legend in both cultures. To humans, a symbol of ingenious strategy. To the Alliance, a harsh reminder that appearance often conceals reality. In the decades that followed, other species would join the growing galactic community. New conflicts would arise and fade. But one lesson remained constant in Alliance diplomatic training. Never judge a species' capabilities by their apparent technology. The slow warship might be the most dangerous one of all. In the historical archives of both civilizations, the incident became known simply as the Thunderchild lesson, a reminder that true understanding begins only when assumptions end. The end.